All right, good morning, everyone. Hope you guys got a good amount of rest this past weekend. We're gearing up for what, will likely be a very busy weather period ahead. So a lot to cover here today. I'm wave meteorologist Brian Good. Welcome to Storm Talk. Been trying to shake out of this title for a while, right? But we keep going back to it as this pattern that keeps repeating itself. We've talked about this many times, that this is likely going to be the trend here for the month of June, is to see this constant battle between these low pressures that still want to drop these fronts in the area, allowing for severe weather to take place, and very strong high pressure to the south. We're kind of just stuck in between the two, and don't think a lot's going to happen. Unfortunately, we're getting to the time of the year that if you get stuck in a pattern, especially the one we're about to enter, it's a little tougher. Something significant has to happen. In some cases, it could be a strong front that can clear you out and push the front way to the south, and you end up with some quiet period. On the flip side, sometimes it is a tropical system that will move in and shake things up and change up your weather pattern. And it will likely have to be one of those two ideas that will have to get into play. I know neither one are good, but that usually is what will take to shake things up here. I don't see a tropical system right now. I know the GFS keeps trying to do that, but we'll get into that. But I think it's a little more likely, but just because of how many fronts we've had from the north, that we get a stronger front that would push down to give us a break. That seems to be more likely than the tropics get involved. But we'll talk more about this. I'm going to try to give you just a brief overview today, really, of the entire snapshot of how this will likely play out for the next 5 to 7 days. And then as we go along this week, we'll break it down more specifically. All right. So just be patient with me on the finer details because it gets a little muddy if we all try to cover everything right now in one snap. That's going to be messy. But you guys can comment, and I will try to get to your questions. You guys are already on from YouTube, X, Twitch as well. Hello, Wyatt. How you doing, Wyatt? How old are you now, Wyatt? I know you're getting up there. Last time I saw you, I think you were like, what, 8 or 9 years old? You're probably 30 now. Good morning, Ashley. I know you're going to be having some questions as well. We'll get to that coming up on the severity side of these storms. Scott, is there a chance to see the northern lights? I haven't looked at much of the signal today, what the scale they've got us on. I don't think there were a lot of reports last night. I think the smoke is kind of the biggest issue that's been in the way, and it's still around, as you'll see, but there may be a chance. We'll kind of keep you updated on it through the day, but I haven't heard anything alarming as far as any flares today to get us to that level. But it's interesting. The sun's very active, very, very active. Okay, so let's dive into it. Let's start with a current view where we can tell that, Canadian wildfire smoke is still around. This camera's high up, but you can get the idea, that hazy sky, a little more sun making it to the ground than we've had the past couple of days, but still not a full-on sun type of ordeal. It looks like it's hot out, doesn't it? It looks like it'd be 95 when you look at that image right there. And boy, it's going to heat up. You know, we were easing back a bit on some of the numbers for this week. I was going to say next week, but we're already there. We were going to ease back on some of the numbers for this week based on humidity and the amount of moisture. But this heat shield is trying to really fight back. And so we will try again to make a run toward 90 with this pattern this week. It's going to be close. I think upper 80s are certainly more likely. Upper 80s will be, but 90 is reachable, especially for the city of Louisville. Louisville is a little of an oddball, right, when it comes to that. All right, here's a look at the visible side from space. Obviously, there's no rain to track here for today, but you can see the mainly clear sky. You don't really see the smoke until I get into a wider view. And then if you look carefully, then you can really see it right across the Mississippi River Valley more than anywhere. It's thinned out a bit over our neck of the woods, but if you travel north and west, it is still very apparent, still drifting and getting caught up in the flow. Once this front moves a little closer to us, the next couple of days, it will get absorbed, dissipated as that front gets closer and begins to add rain into the mix. Could be a muddy rain too. I don't know if there's enough dust there. It's pretty high up, but it wouldn't surprise me that we get some reports, especially some of the first round of spotty showers. You may get some of that mud blotches on your car. That is pretty typical. But I'm sure given the pattern, we've had so many fronts coming in from the north this year, it wouldn't surprise me that we'll be talking about the Canadian wildfire smoke several times. I feel it for them because obviously the smoke's coming from something, right? So they're going to have a rough season, I'm afraid. because our weather pattern, again, is just very blocky, just really tough to shake up. So if you're in a situation that's bad right now, it likely can stay bad. So that's our worry. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I think everyone's on now. Hello, everyone. Hello, Shonda. Hello, Kelly. Wyatt, you just graduated from Manual. Congratulations. Man, you are growing up. I hope you're going to WKU. I don't know where you're going to, but I'm a little biased for WKU. Okay, so what about the severity from the Storm Prediction Center? Because to be honest with you, that's the easiest way to track how this is going to approach. And while we're under this high pressure dome now, there is an active setup here in the Rockies, and that is heading our way, especially the front. So the severe risk will start today on the front range of the Rockies. We'll move to tomorrow, gets closer to us. The front stretched out from just west of the Twin Cities, not far from Madison, Wisconsin, all the way down to about the Metroplex into Texas. And then you start to notice as the third day, which will be Wednesday, shows up. It's a marginal risk, but it's right into wave country. But it's a marginal. I think this will likely change as we get closer. But right now, they're just playing it safe, saying a marginal risk is out for the tail end of the front. Why did the slight not keep going? And that's important to note. The height it's to our east is so strong, this front, this boundary is going to slow down and get basically stuck for a couple of days, especially for Wednesday and Thursday, maybe parts of Friday, and maybe even part of Saturday. What can really move a front and a boundary is going to be complexes of storms. We call these MCSs, the mesoscale convective systems. When you get those fired up, they're their own machine, their own mini low pressure. These, if they form, they can really shake things up and not only bring the severe risk way down more to the southeast, because they love moisture like Pac-Man, they love it. They can, in a very unique way, help in pulling the boundary south and get it down to Tennessee. And I'm thinking that's going to be the process as we end the weekend, head into the weekend. So unfortunately, to really get this front to get us out of any severe risk, it will take a couple of rounds of intense thunderstorms for that to happen. Now, I know you're saying, well, wait a minute, won't the high just be stronger and just hold back the front? And then we could just stay around 90 degrees all the way through the weekend and your severe risk is up here to the north. That would be great, but there's not a lot of support for that. This front does have such a strong kick to it. I think it will at least park into the northern part of the Ohio Valley and perhaps all of the Ohio Valley eventually before these complexes of storms work as a team to try to pull the boundary in the front more south. It is a messy setup and not too uncommon to see this in the summer, but this is more into Minnesota by this time of the year, not in wave country. So that is unusual. It kind of reminds me slightly to what 4th of July weekend was like back in, was it 2 or 3 years ago? I know it was me, Jessica, and Tawana that were stuck with that mess during that weekend. We just were trying to battle it out, and it was an enhanced risk for 3 days, I think. And we actually lucked out. We didn't get a lot of damage. St. Louis did in Illinois near Evansville. They got quite a bit of damage, but we lucked out in that scenario, even with an enhanced risk on multiple days. So I'm not saying that you're going to get damaging storms here out of this scenario. I'm saying that you're going to be hearing a lot about it on a daily basis. And yes, alert days are being designed right now for this setup and will likely get issued. Timing is the biggest issue because we just don't know when they will fire, when they'll move out. Some could be nocturnal, and they have a mind of their own, which is never fun. They're not as easy as a cold front is in tracking severe weather. So timing's our biggest thorn. So, but I think we need to at least make sure the awareness gets elevated a little bit more today about the scenario. I am worried not only for the severe elements at play, and all of them are at play in this. Flooding is going to be a pretty obvious one. You get multiple rounds of storms over the same spots, we're really going to be adding up these rain totals in a big, big way. So that is a concern I've got. So I'm hoping you all are enjoying the quiet weather now and really tomorrow as well. After that, things get a little noisy. Any questions on the overall thing before I show you the modeling? Heather's already looking to Sunday. Sunday, I'll try to explain why Sunday's going to be a bit of a challenge on the storm chance, but the more you get into the weekend, the better. All right, so let me walk you through this. Ron, I see your questions of when. So let's get right into the timing. We're starting with today. So I'm going to ease you through this. We're going to go through each day. You ready? Today, we're good. We're fine. Right around 80, lower 80s. Hazy sunshine. Really nice day today. No problems at all. We get into tomorrow. All right, we build the cape. The cape's over us. But our friend that we will talk about many times in the summer season coming up is the cap is in play, especially above 700 millibars. There is a warm layer. Thunderstorms have a tough time forming. Now, there is, with it being above 700, sometimes I've seen very low top thunderstorms still form in the very lower layers of the atmosphere. They can't gain much height to them because they will run right into that lid. But they could still, being above 700, not to get overly technical, they still have enough room that they can produce a downpour. So I wouldn't roll out a downpour on Tuesday. Otherwise, we'll be making a run toward 90. Tomorrow is going to be your hot day. Hang out by the pool. Be weather aware in case a downpour with lightning develops, but your severe potential is not a worry with this kind of setup here. But you can already see back into Quincy, Illinois, back to the west. You already start to see signs of what's coming, right? So here comes the front. As we get into Wednesday, it will begin to approach. There's a low pressure attached to it. You can even see that over St. Louis. This will be like an MCS feature. Here's our refuel. But remember, we have our protector, this high pressure to the east, this shield. So this thing cannot go southeast yet. Just can't do it yet. It needs a few days to try to push that boundary south. So areas right along its path will unfortunately be in the storm zone, and that's going to be around Indianapolis, southern Illinois, west Kentucky, and right into southern Indiana, our counties, southern Indiana, Seymour, over to North Vernon, certainly Paoli, into Du Bois County and Jasper. You'll be in that zone where this will be an active setup starting Wednesday late in the day and may even continue into parts of Thursday. You're kind of just going to be stuck here with these showers, thunderstorms, and some of which could be severe. So this is where the marginal risk kicks in that you saw from the Storm Prediction Center. I got a feeling, again, this will be expanded a bit more and probably will have a slight somewhere drawn within that. But that's something I'm sure they'll look at later because it is a cause and effect scenario. So if one piece ahead of it is off, then the last piece is. You guys know that storyline. So this is one of the latter pieces here. So there is a chance it could be off track a bit, but that's how the storyline looks to me. So we're okay today. We're okay for the most part tomorrow. Wednesday, we need to start paying attention, especially if you're in Indiana. Start paying attention Wednesday. For the rest of you that are watching, including Louisville and a good chunk of our Kentucky area, we may get lucky and stay quiet here for Wednesday. Unfortunately, this is going to eventually move our way, and that will kick in on Thursday. Here's the outlook from the Euro. This kind of gives a broad view because that model ends there, so I can't keep going, unfortunately. But this Euro model does show the line moving in. Showers and storms. Again, you can almost see the hesitation that the boundary has. It gets stuck, and we're just going to get these little complexes of storms as it tilts a little more east-west. The complexes of storms will form likely Missouri, and will keep moving east. I think the round for Thursday is still going to be focused more across northern Kentucky and Indiana. I don't think our southern Kentucky counties will get much action here on Thursday, but Louisville will likely enter the zone Thursday for the first time, and I think Indiana certainly will, all of Indiana, but along 64 North, that's the zone I'm watching for Thursday. We get into Friday. I think it's it doesn't look like it here, but I think it's everyone on Friday. If I had to draw Friday zone, I would draw just about for all of wave country for Friday. Friday looks to be the most concerning data on widespread potential for severe that could take place on Friday. But that system looks strong enough to, by the time we get into Saturday, this is Saturday evening. Again, the Euro is not all the models agree on this, but just to give you an idea, it will then be allowing for these complex of storms to then push the boundary south. And notice we're absent of Cape on Saturday. The fuel's gone because the air is drier. That's possible. I really hope that's the case. That will give us a break for at least part of the weekend. To answer your question, was it Heather? I'm sorry. That may get us into Sunday as well. But this is key. This is absolutely key. You've got to get that. It means we may have to sacrifice Friday to be a pretty rough day on thunderstorms, but at least it would be able to push the boundary south to give us a decent weekend. I'm not going to rule that out. If this is all off track and the Friday wave of storms is not expected to develop the way it looks now. Unfortunately, that means that this boundary that is showing up here in Tennessee will likely still be along 64, and we will just keep going with more rounds of showers and storms. But if the one on Friday looks as strong as it does, it may be just enough to push everything down to the south. Okay, let me show you the analogs. Oh, you can see it comes back again with another front next week, but we'll worry about that later. I want to get to you in the weeds in the long term today. Here is, boy, that did that wrong. I apologize. This is the SIPS analogs, and I know you can't see Kentucky here, but we are outlooked every single day. This is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There is a bit of a southern track to it by Sunday to the south of us. Here's CSU. Wednesday shows the hints. Thursday, yeah, right along Kentucky, very low in potential. Friday expands. Saturday, it's there. And then it keeps on going down to the south on a bit on Sunday, not too much though. Don't get too caught up in where this is placed. Get caught up on the storyline. That's why I show you these maps. These will keep changing, evolving every day, but they all show you how the boundary, the front, is in our area and how it just gets stuck. And what you got to watch for then are these little locomotives. We got the train track going through our area. Now we got to pay attention to locomotives that race along it. Some will be north, some will be south of it because the track will not be perfectly stuck. It'll waver a bit, but that's where we have to figure out the timing issues of each one of these days. I'm just letting you know that we enter the storm zone starting on Wednesday, and let's hope we get out of it briefly on Saturday, but that potential that we don't is certainly there. Did that make sense? Did that make sense? Type 3 for good on at least the storyline. I know you're going to have questions about how much rain, how much could we see here. It's tough yet to answer all that, guys. It is. I can just tell you that I've seen this setup before many times, and it can be very taxing. It's going to be a long setup. It doesn't storm the entire time in this scenario. I've noticed if your morning's active, then your afternoon usually is good. And the opposite, if your morning is not great, or your morning's great, I'm sorry. If you got sunshine in the morning, then your afternoon and evening is going to be rough. It really is like a yin-yang effect. So some days will be like that. So that's why we got to figure out the timing. Okay. Sean, wish it would stop raining so the lake get down to normal levels. Yeah, the lake's been high. It's hard to get out there and do some boating and everything else, right? Not the best of scenarios. I get it. It's just one of those years. We're going to be talking about this year for a while, I think. It's going to be one for the books. Just an active weather and the amount of alert days we've had. My goodness, this will probably push us over 40, I believe, maybe, or close to 40 alert days, the way this is looking. Here's the 10-day. I stress again, enjoy today, enjoy tomorrow, get out in the pool tomorrow, soak up that warm weather. I know the water's a little chilly, I get it, but at least it'll be warm outside when you get out. And then Wednesday is only part of the area, okay? It's just mainly Indiana for Wednesday. Thursday, a little more wave country, likely including Louisville for Thursday. Friday, I think, is going to be just about everyone watching. I think Friday is going to be the main day to watch for widespread. And then Saturday's iffy. Saturday and Sunday are iffy because we just don't know how far south the dry air will punch in. I'm going to be optimistic and say at least part of the area can get it, but not all of us yet until I get more data and we got to get closer. But there is a hope that we can push that south and relax just in time for the weekend, which will be nice because we're going to have a pretty active second half of the week. Okay. Everyone, I think, is good. Alert days, possible alert days are likely, Kevin. They will be issued shortly. Heat wave in sight. The unofficial ruling on heat wave, by the way, for our area, there's no official rule book on this, is 3 days consecutive of 90, which is not hard to do at Ali International. I know a lot of you watching don't always get to that level that Ali does with the heat element, but that's the official declaration of it, unofficial, sorry, declaration that we use. We've used since I've been a kid. That's been the rule around here. That it's going to be tough. I don't know if we're going to get 3 of that. But we may, I don't know if we're going to get to 90 because we're so green out. That really does make a difference. Austin, so the damaging straight line winds the biggest concern? That's a great question. In most cases, yes, especially this time of the year, it's more so damaging winds, straight line winds. Hail will be an issue. Can you get a tornado threat out of this pattern? You can, yes, you can, but this is not a supercell type of setup that we're looking at. These are clusters of thunderstorms, damaging winds, downburst winds, just because the heat is much more involved now than we've had in other events. A lot more heat will be building up the next couple of days, more humidity. So your potential for microbursts or damaging winds become more of an issue. A lot of lightning, cloud to ground lightning will be pretty insane with the setup. So, and with so many outdoor events, whether you're swimming, going to theme parks, whatever it is, you just got to be weather aware of the setup. Again, it's not a setup that features the storm and a rainy period all day long, ruining your whole day. But unfortunately, there will be just some periods, whether it's late night or early morning, that we'll have to deal with some stronger thunderstorms, okay? I just want to give you guys the overview of where we're at. And what we're going to do is just kind of take this one step at a time. That's the best way, because I'm telling you, it's going to keep changing and evolving a bit. But I think it's fair to say this is the likely setup for the week here. All right, guys, I got to run. I think you all are in good shape. Just hang tight with this. Stay close to the weather forecast. That's key. It's going to keep evolving. So the Wave Weather app will be the first thing we change. So keep an eye on that. And also keep an eye on our TV weathercast. We're going to be updating that and the alert days that will be decided on as we evolve here for the next couple of days. Okay, so hang tight. Enjoy today, please. I don't want to be a total bummer if I can be a bummer, but at least get outside and enjoy the sunny weather today, even if it's a little hazy out. Okay, see you guys. Come up on the flip side.